If you ever need anyone to do toy kind of illustrations for you for the American market, you should
Yeah.
ask me.
Oh, sure. Thanks for saying.
That's one of my expertise.
Great, great, great. Definitely. We'll work on some project together. Looking forward for that. Um, Lisa, the first thing is after looking at this box is we will have to start with the dimension. So the way we do it is first we, mark down the specifications in terms of the dimension, and let's call it specification sheet, and we want the height first. So let's say height is 4 inches, uh, maybe 6 inches. Let's go for 6 inches, and the width is going to be 4 inches, and depth, so we will call it depth is going to be 4 inches also. Now for the demonstration I would want the dimensions to be varied, otherwise it will get confusing with width and depth. So on purpose I'm gonna go for depth of let's say 2.5 inches, uh, or maybe just 3, 2.5 is fine. Now I'll show you a method which I use and it has worked well for me. uh, what I do is first try to create all the facets. So basically a simple box will have 3 uh, facets, right? It will have a total of 2 to 6 facets, but 3 will be identical, right? So this is going to be identical to the other a part. It will be the mirror. uh, this is going to be same as the bottom, top is going to be same as the bottom, the front is going to be same as the back, and the left part is going to be same as the right part. So we will have to first make 3 facets, right? So we will start by doing this. First we'll keep the height common, and I'm hitting D for filling it with the default colors, which is white for fill, black for outline. And then I'm going to put the measurements. So how do we do the exact measurement? First thing first, if you can see the rulers, fine. If you don't see it, then you have to press Ctrl R on the keyboard and then right click on it and then choose inches or your measurement convention, whatever it is. So I'm gonna go for inches. In fact, rather than going for inches, I should prefer it in millimeters, because that will allow me to conveniently add bleed to it. Usually we go for 3 mm bleed, uh, and then we have a cut line, and some bleed, and then basically gives us more precision. But the client may give you the dimension in terms of inches, because that is easier to visualize basically. So that makes no difference. I'm just gonna right click here and then choose millimeters. Okay, and we will select this rectangle, and first thing I'm gonna do is do the front face, right? So height is 6 inches and width is 4. So the front face is going to be 6 into 4. 6 is going to be the height, and the width is going to be 4. So select this, click on the transform, and then we have width and height, access to width and height. But these are shown in mms, no worries. First thing first, we'll have to make sure that the chain is the link is broken. It shouldn't be like this, it should be broken. And then here what I'm gonna go do is type 4 inches. So 4 in, it automatically is going to convert this into millimeters. You have to make sure that you are typing in the suffix in as well. If you just type 4, it will convert that into 4 okay. So now height, I want 6 inches, so I'll type 6 in and hit enter. So now this is 6 inches by 4 inches precisely. I'll just increase the size of the page by selecting the page tool, and then
Where's the page tool? That's in that little box.
here the page tool is here.
Okay.
Okay, or you can also call it, basically it's called artboard tool in Illustrator, but I have a habit of calling it page tool. So you can, or you can press Alt plus O on the keyboard to get that. Now the front is done. Next I'm just gonna make a copy of it, because the height for the depth is also going to be the same. And now I'm gonna go and then do 6 into 2.5. So transform here, width 2.5 inches, enter. So this is my depth. And the third rectangle I want is of the width into depth, right? That is what going to build the top part of it, this into this. So this I'm gonna again go to the transform and then type in the values. It's going to be 4 inches. I'll press tab and then type in 2.5 inches. Very well. So we have all 3 facets ready. Now it's time to arrange them properly. Okay. Now notice that the thickness of the outlines are varying, right? That happened. This appears more thicker than this one, than this one. This is happening because I am transforming this rectangle, and there is a setting in the preferences dialog box. If you say Control K on the keyboard, Command K for you on the Mac, then it brings out the preferences dialog box. Now here, if this option scale, strokes and effects is selected, then I'll show you what happens. So let's say that if I create this rectangle and I increase the stroke thickness to about 10, and if I make a copy of this and reduce the size of it, notice that the size of the rectangle is decreasing, but also the thickness of the outline, right? Both are decreasing. In some cases you may not probably want this to happen, so in that case you can say Control K and switch off this option. By default it is actually switched off. So now if I copy it and I resize, you will see that the outline is not changing. The thickness of the outline is not changing. So in this case I want the thickness of the outline to be same in all cases. So I'm simply gonna select all of them and then go to the weight here and then set it to 1 point. All right. Now we'll have to arrange this. So the open layout of the box will have this 4 facets connected with each other alternately. That's going to be the front, the right side, the back side and the left side. Okay, and then we have this which is going to be connected with the front. Now this can be done depending upon the opening of the box. Either you connect it here or you connect it here. So if the box is supposed to open from the front, this is where you should connect it. If it is supposed to be opened from the back, this is where you connect it. I'm gonna let it be here because I want to connect it from the front, open it from the front. Now while aligning this, make sure that you are zoomed in and you are clicking on the path and then looking for this intersection. This is very important. Look at this pink line. Now if you don't see these pink lines, probably your smart guides are off. So double check by going to the view icon, view menu, and then looking for guides. Not guides. Look at smart guides. Here is that option. It should be on. Then only you will see those hints. It should be perfectly aligned. I'm gonna make a copy of this one also by holding Alt and then dragging it and aligning it here. Now, even if it seems as if I did a good job, I'll definitely double check by going close to it and ensure that it's perfectly aligned. So this is my boxes open layout ready. Now, so far it seems very simple thing to do, but the main work starts from here. Because we have created a box which cannot be pasted together, right? So we'll have to add some extra a paper on different places where the box is going to be pasted. So this edge is going to be pasted with this one, so we can create some extra space here. There is no ideal thing here, but a 5 thickness should do it just fine. But it also depends upon the printer and the kind of material and a variety of other things as well. But in this case, I'm just gonna go here and then keep the width to 10 Once again, make sure that you are perfectly aligned. Okay, and I'm not gonna much worry about the thickness of the outlines even if it varies while transforming, because in the end I'm anyway going to select everything and change the strokes thickness to 1 point. Now this is going to be pasted here. Now while pasting it, there are something. Now this if you do it repeatedly, you will understand, or anybody will understand the small problems while pasting it. Now this corner, probably if not aligned well, it's gonna peek out right from behind. So to handle that, yeah, sorry,
It has to be angled.
yeah, it has to be angled, correct. So the way we do it is we use keyboard increments to do that. Manually we can also push it down, but then we should ideally do the keyboard increments because we'll be doing it in many places here. So in order to bring the keyboard increment settings, you press Ctrl K on the keyboard, and here is the keyboard increment settings highlighted already. So I'm simply gonna press 1 and say okay. That's it. And then I'm gonna use the direct selection tool, click on this anchor, and then use my keyboard down arrow key. 1, 2, 3. 3 is a decent amount. 1, 2, 3. So I use the up arrow key. Simple, right? So this works fine. Now let's look at the other edges which needs to be pasted together. This forms the the core of the box, and this needs to be pasted right also. Now this is gonna vary depending upon the design. I can leave here, right? So this we don't have we have to have some paper here, right? And some paper here also. Same goes for this side and same goes for this side also, right? So I'm just gonna hold Alt and then I'll have to make a copy first and then I can resize it. So let me make a copy first. Yeah, and then bring it down. Now how much ideally we should do? We should do half of the thickness. Okay, the half of this thickness. So we already have this here. We have to make it half of it. So if I drop it down and just bring my cursor to this box, you will see it automatically aligns it from the center, which is a good thing for us, right? And let's zoom in and then ensure that it's aligned properly. Right now it is not, so I'll wait for that intersect and then let it go. Then I'm gonna use this direct selection tool, select this and nudge it. 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Also, just to you know make sure that it fits perfect, the purpose of this part is to provide more strength to the box. So let me first make a copy here also, and the way we can make a copy is there are two ways, right? Either I make a copy, rotate it and then place it, right? This is one way of doing it. The better way of doing it is you select it, go to the reflect tool here, uh, okay, and then just hover your cursor till the time you find the center of this. Oh, it's really difficult to find out the center of this one. Any Okay, then use guidelines, and if you can't see the guidelines, by the way, then use the shortcut control semicolon. That is a toggle key. It hides the guidelines also and brings it back as well. Now you'll have to also check if the guide is locked or not. In this case, the guide is locked. That means I cannot select it and move it. I can create it, but I cannot select and move it. So to unlock that, you can use Control Alt or Command Option semicolon. That unlocks the guides, and now I can move it freely. So what I'm gonna do is select the guide and shift click on this, and then once again click on this to make it the key object, and align the guide by using this option here, vertical align center. Now it is perfectly aligned with the center of it, and this is gonna help me a lot in making the mirror copies of it. So I'm gonna select this, go to the mirror tool, simply click on the guideline once, hold Alt on the keyboard, drag it from this corner and then mirror it here. Hold Shift also to constrain the rotation, and I have a perfect copy. I don't need to worry about the alignment in this case because I have done the hard work already. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So because these two together are going to provide strength to the bottom part, right? I'm assuming this is the bottom, this is the top, right? Now while packing, it may be the case when these two do not align properly, or maybe even 1 mm difference can be really difficult to handle. So just to avoid those scenarios, let's select these two anchor points and push it 1 mm below, just 1 mm, that's it, 1 mm there, and let's select these two and go up 1 mm, that's it. So we
Why did
have
you do that again?
a 1 mm. I pushed the edge inside for the top and for the bottom also. So when these two join, there is a gap of 2 mm. So
Okay.
yeah, sometimes the depends upon what kind of paper you are using and all. You can go up to 3 mm also. You can push up to 3 mm. That will not make any difference to the box's strength. Okay. All right. Now this piece is exactly the size of the top. So that means we will have to have a flap here as well, right? Which fits in the slot.
Yes.
So to do that, I'm gonna make a copy of this, very simple, align it with this one, and then I can decide how much I want, right? 20 would be a good value. So after you define 20 you have to again come back and make sure that it is aligned properly. Make sure that alignment is perfect, otherwise you might run into some problem while creating the bleed or the cut line. Now also, so that it can smoothly go inside the box, it would be a good idea to round it off a little. So I'm gonna select this corner handle, these two, and drag. Now as I drag, if I want to numerically place the value, I can do so by going to the properties panel, and there I have that option. Where are the corner options? You have to click on this under the transform, this three dot menu if you don't see these already, and there is the control we are looking for. So it's broken already, the link is broken, and I'm gonna go and put 5 curve on both the sides. Okay. Also, after putting this 5 I realized that if I push these two 1 inside, it will be easier to slot that in. So I'm just gonna select these two anchor points and use the left arrow key and the right arrow key to make a shape like this. All right. I want to make a copy of this one here. So I'm gonna select this, use the reflect tool, and just go anywhere, in the middle, and make a copy by holding Alt. And then I need to, okay, this is not center anymore, right? The center would change, so we'll have to do some manual labor here. Let me just do it manually. Then I made a copy already. I just have to align these two together. When I see the pink line, everything is fine. Let it go. Zoom in, double check. No problem. Okay. So the layout is very much done. We just have to copy these two here also. So to do that, I can use this center point here, right? I can use this center point. I'll use the reflect tool, come here and try to find out the center point of the object here. Now for some reason I can't seem to find the center point. Let's go check out the view settings and look at the snap settings. It says snap to point. That option is there, guides. Okay. All right, we'll have to drag another guideline, and then maybe that way we will end up finding the center. Or let's select this one and drag the guideline and then put it in the center. Now I'm gonna select this, shift click, go to the reflect tool. Now we have the center, and I'm gonna hold Alt and make a copy of it. All right, let me switch off the guidelines quickly, control semicolon, and we have the layout ready for us. Okay, did I miss anything here?
No, I think you have it all.
Any edge? This
No,
is
I think
fine.
they're all good. Yeah.
Yeah, everything is fine. Correct. Well, so I'm gonna just let it be here. It would be a good idea to keep this as a, you could say, reference or something very crude which can be modified later on also. You can
Basic
quickly make,
template.
yeah, basic template, correct. Yeah, that's the right word. Now I'll make a copy of it, and then see, this is all going to be one single thing, right? But when we put graphics inside, then we might use these boxes as placeholders, We can use these shapes for cutting graphics or wrapping up things inside and all those sort of things. But we should have an isolated thing and one combined thing also. Combined thing will be used for creating the bleed, right? So what I'm going to do is make a copy of this, select first everything, right? And say Control C on the keyboard to make a copy. And then I'm going to open up layers panel. If you can't find the layers panel here, press F7 on the keyboard. F7 will bring out the layers panel. And now I'm going to create another layer on top of it. Layer 1 already has it. I copied the content from there. I'm gonna click on create new layer. And on this layer, I'm gonna say Control F, paste in front. Okay, oh, sorry. I have to make sure that this layer 2 is selected first and then say Control F on the keyboard to paste it. All right, so we have two copies. Let me select all the content of layer 2 by clicking on this circle here and then move it. I'm just checking. Yeah, perfect. And now I can switch off layer 1 and work with layer 2. So layer 1 already has those isolated pieces in the same place. I can switch that off and then work on layer 2. I'm gonna select all of these together at once and press Ctrl Shift F9 on the keyboard to bring out the Pathfinder options. And then I'm going to choose this one. Unite. And that gives me the outline, right? Okay. And now this outline can be used to create this is the cut line, right? This outline is the cut line, but we'll also have to make the bleed. And to do that, I'm gonna make another copy of this by saying Control C on the keyboard and then press Control F on the keyboard. So we have two copies of this, right? And the top copy needs to give up the fill. So the fill is selected. I'm gonna click on none so that I can see through the top outline. And while that is selected, we will go to the effects menu, choose distort and transform, or sorry, path. You can do it from here also, by the way, but it will be more convenient. So I'm gonna go to the path, choose offset path, and there we type in the value 3 mm and then say okay. So we have offsetted the path and you could see the bleed is different, right? This is the bleed area, the top part. Okay, and if I have a graphic in it, I'm gonna use the outer frame to put the graphic inside, right? Now the next thing I'm gonna do is go to the, now this step is very important. So you have to expand the effect you have applied. So make sure that you have selected it, go to the object menu and then choose expand appearance. And I don't know if you have noticed or not, I'll do it again. I'll say Control Z and I'm gonna repeat this once again. Now this is the case right now. I have a path and I have outlined the path, basically offsetted the path, right? So notice if I click on this, then this path is getting selected. Let me just expand layer 2. We have two paths. I'll hide the bottom one. Now this is the expanded version of the path, right? And if I hover my cursor, you will see that it is still referring to the original path because this effect is dynamic in nature. So if I click on this, it is still selecting the path, right? And this may end up creating some trouble when we use this outline for clipping mask. So I'm gonna select this and go to the object and notice what is gonna happen to the selection. And I'm gonna choose expand appearance and see that path disappeared, and this is the new outline. This is the new path we have, and this is what we needed. I'm gonna switch on the path underneath also, right? This is the cut line, so we can just double click on this and type in cut line, and this is the bleed. We can also type in 3 mm for the printer to understand it. Okay, now here onwards only the bleed line is going to be utilized for doing anything. The cut line will just remain there and do nothing. Okay, so you can hide cut line for now also, that's fine. Now inside this we will have to place our graphics, and before we start placing the graphics we can switch on layer 1 also to look at the segmentations of it, right? And how I do it, I would not prefer the segmentations, but I would rather use the guidelines. So let me bring out all the guidelines and let me get rid of the old ones. So I'm gonna select all the guides, hit delete on the keyboard, select this one also, and just delete all the guidelines. And I'm gonna use layer 1 to quickly bring in the new guidelines, which is going to help me in laying down the graphics inside this packaging. I'm just putting the guides on the horizontal and vertical divisions. First I'm going to do the vertical ones, and then I'm going to do the horizontal ones. Now this is going to help me in noticing the regions where I'm placing my graphic when I start filling it. All right, and then I can simply hide layer 1. Oh, I ended up creating the guides on layer 1, so I'll have to copy the guides also on layer 2. So I'm going to select all of it, say Ctrl X to cut the guidelines, and then I'm going to go on layer 2 and then say Ctrl F to paste the guides here, and then hide the layer 1. All set.
What's the difference between Control V and Control F?
There are 3 ways how you can paste things. In fact, 4 ways how you can paste things in Illustrator. Let me show you. So now let me just fill this up with color quickly, and I'm going to make another object so that we can use that as a reference. Well, so now the circle is on top of this, right? Now if I copy it from here, or let's say that I want to copy this, let me quickly make another circle first. With 3 objects it will be more clearer. So there is this stacking order, right? On top of everything we have a green circle, followed by the blue one, followed by the orange rectangle. Now if I want to copy this, Control C, and I simply want to paste it by saying Control V, see what happens. Control V pastes the object in the center of the work area. Okay, let me delete this and zoom out and say Control V. You will always notice it has a tendency of pasting the object in the center of the work area. Even if I delete it from here and say Control V, it's always going to be in the center of the work area. Now sometimes that may work out well, but let's say that I want to copy this rectangle from here and paste it on the same location in front of this object, not this one, in front of this one. So I'm gonna use the shortcut Control F. So what I did, I pasted the rectangle on the same location on top of the object I had selected. Okay, I can do the same here also. I can select this object and then say Control F. So Control F is paste in front.
Okay.
You also have Control B, paste in back, paste at the back. So I can select this and say Control B to paste it behind the selected object. and it
Okay.
remembers the location. Okay, so these are the three ways how you can paste objects. There is one more. In fact, there are two more things. So I'll let you figure out those three. So
Okay.
one is Control Shift V, which is paste in place. That means it is same as Control F or Control B, but it's going to paste it on top of everything. So if I say Control C here and come here and say Control Shift V, you will see that the object gets pasted in the same position, but on top of everything. So that is paste in place. Another is if you create one more artboard and say Control Alt Shift V, then the objects get pasted on all the artboards. So here also you have one, here also you have one. If you would have had one more artboard, you will see that it's gonna get pasted in all the artboards at once. Control Alt Shift V. See? Okay?
Stamps and
And
all of them.
yeah, and the best thing is it remembers the coordinates. So to check that, what you can do is draw a straight line, touch the top part, and draw another straight line from here and touch the left part. Now I'm gonna say Control C, select these three, say Control C, copy it, right, and let me just delete these two, and if I paste it, see what happens. Oh, Control V, paste it right there in the center of the artboard, the work area. I don't want to do that. I want Control Alt Shift V. So Command, Option, Shift and V on the keyboard. Notice it retains the position on all artboards,
Nice.
right? So this is how you work with
When do you use
pasting
that?
objects. If I want to paste one object in all the artboards at the same location at once, then I'll use that. It will save a lot of time. I'm gonna delete this one, and let's get rid of this. Let's come back to the topic. Well, so we have everything set up quite nicely here. We know the edges, everything, the bleed is set. All we have to do is bring in the graphic and then place it inside. So we will not be creating the graphic today. We will do it in the next class. However, for the sake of testing things, let's just quickly go on Google and then find out something which we can place. Let's call it packaging graphics. Let's see what we get. Oh, obviously we wouldn't get the flattened version of it. I think this is the flat version. Yeah, this is the flat version. Nice. uh, so we can try doing this, but the color is horrible. I don't like it. I'm gonna do this.
You don't like the green?
Yeah, this one especially, it's too much of a green. I just want a graphic which I can just put it inside. That's it, just to test. Let's go with, okay, this is also correct. Let's go for coffee packaging graphics. Yeah, so we have this. That's good. We can place right. So I'm gonna right click, open it in a new tab, look for the biggest possible version. This is fine. I'm gonna say copy, Go to Illustrator and paste it. Now before I start putting this inside, I would want to isolate them, right? So let me just quickly show you a cool trick in Photoshop. We are done with Photoshop, but let me show you, because cropping all of them will take time, right? We can do it very easily in Photoshop at once. We can do it in Illustrator also, by the way. uh, and since we are learning Illustrator, why not try doing it in Illustrator? I think um, let's see if the slice tool is so. I think it will not work in Illustrator, but there is no harm in trying. There is no option to slice with guides in Illustrator. I haven't seen that last time I checked, but let me see again. What if do we have any option in the option bar? No, we don't. Let's double click. No, we don't have that option here. In the properties, no option. No, we'll have to rely upon Photoshop. So I have opened Photoshop. I'm gonna open a new file. The best thing about Photoshop is that it remembers the clipboard size, so we'll not have to define the size for the thing we have copied. We can simply paste it and it will match the size. And I'm gonna quickly drag some guidelines. It's very simple. First cover the vertical lines and I'm gonna go slightly. There's a mismatch there. I'll not worry much about the aspect ratio. Even if the graphic gets a little distorted, that's fine to me. And now in this case the design is isolated, right? So there is no connection from front to the side and side to the back or top. Only, this much connection I can see. uh, it depends upon the way you want to design it. If this is what is needed, then it can be done separately, but otherwise, you know uh, sometimes you connect all of it and design it at once, where the graphic is getting transferred from the front to the back and it's a continuous thing. So I have made this guidelines here, and I'm gonna switch to the slice tool and
Yeah,
then choose.
we haven't used the slice tool yet.
Yeah, so you would not be able to see the slice tool probably. In that case, you have to edit. Click on this three dot menu, brings out the edit toolbar option, and from there you have to pick out the slice tool, which is hidden somewhere here in this line. I have also added it in the extras tools. You can see that it was not shown earlier. And then I'm gonna say done. So slice tool, make sure that the guides are there in place, and then you have this option slice from guides. You click on that, it makes the slices for you. Amazing, right? And then all you have to do is click on slice select tool and click on these. You can hold shift, select these, and then say control shift alt S on the keyboard, which will bring out save to web dialog box. And from here, I think I'll have to select here. That did not work. So I'm holding shift and selecting all the slices I want. When all of it is highlighted, I don't want these chunks, because if I export, all these tiny chunks will also go along the flat color, the beige color. So I highlighted the pieces I wanted, and I'm gonna save this. Click on save. I'm gonna save it on the desktop, make a folder. Oh, you already have a folder in my computer. So I'm gonna save it inside your folder in the packaging, and yeah, uh, coffee pack slices, and we have images only. Make sure this is selected, and let me just give it coffee and save. It says all slices. Don't make that mistake. You click on this drop down and choose selected slices, otherwise it will save all the slices. So only the selected slices I want, and save. Done. So what we did, let's go and then quickly check. Packaging, coffee pack slices, images, and there you go. You have all the slices you want at once,
Oh, they're
right?
saved as separate JPEGs.
Yeah, so saves a lot of time, right? Now I'm gonna close Photoshop and we will get back to Illustrator, and I'm gonna drag this and drop it in Illustrator. Now all those came here, and those are all linked, right? So it's okay if you want to let it be linked, but while exporting, make sure that you have including all the links correctly. In this case, I'm not very much about the links because I'm gonna embed them in upcoming sessions. If you want me to cover what is the difference between linked images and embedded images, just let me know. I'll explain it. Here I'm
Okay.
just gonna say embed, and that's it. And I'm gonna use these. Now since I have it in different proportion, right, all of them, and here I have a different proportion. So the benefit of keeping this intact will come here very handy. So I'm gonna hide this, and okay, so let's do this. uh, I'm gonna just quickly club all of these without worrying much about mask it out, yeah, without worrying much about if it is gonna fit our packaging or not, and I'll pass on the file to you to work upon it. And your uh, challenge would be to change the basic one, right, or maybe create a new one which suits this packaging, or a different packaging of your choice for that matter. Will that be fine, Lisa, with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I eventually have to do it from scratch too.
Yeah,
Because
so
I can't print out something that's like an existing product. I need to show them something I've created.
yeah, so
And then I'm gonna bring it. I have to find out the details for that machine that makes the packaging, and I have
mhm.
to have the packaging cut out and printed.
Okay, nice,
So I'll find out the details for that.
great.
I have to
uh,
write my studio coordinator.
so well, so now another thing is they are opening it from the back, uh, we are opening it from the front, right? So it's mismatching. um, so I'm just gonna place it here. Just forget about that. And also they have not covered a lot of things. uh, these pieces they haven't made, so we'll just fill that up with a solid color. I'm gonna hide the layer 1 and select all of it, say Control G to make a group of them, and I'm just gonna place it here. And it's not right thing to do, but I'm just distorting the graphic, forgive me for this. uh, yeah, and pull this up, and Hmm. I'll have to pull this here also. I'm just making sure that it covers the entire area of, uh, and then increase it slightly. It is already grouped, so I'm going to expand this, and these guides which are there, let me just quickly select all of them and then group them together. Oh, I cannot group them. Yeah. Oh, well, so in that case, let me just send it all the way to the back by saying Control Shift left bracket on the keyboard, and then look for that outline which is there. Yeah, it's there. I'm gonna make a copy of it, Control C, just to be on the safer side. It is there in my clipboard. Select both of them and say Control 7 on the keyboard, which is the shortcut for doing clip mask, and it goes inside. And then I'm gonna say Control F, or and then hide that outline, the bleed line. Right, where did I paste it? uh, Here. Yeah, I think here. Yes. So bleed 3 mm, I pasted it there. So my graphic is ready. It's going haywire here and there, so but this is essentially how you do it. Then I'm gonna collapse layer 2, go back on layer 1, no, sorry, here only, and switch on the cut line and bring the cut line all the way up so that it's visible here. And because this is filled with white color, I can just remove that and give it a contrasting color so that it is visible. uh, I'm gonna go with yellow in this case because that seems contrasting. And also you can increase the thickness so that the printer exactly knows that there is the cut line. So let's make it 2 points. I think it is so contrasting that even 1 point will do a fair job, right? So this is how we do it. Lisa, any questions?
No, I'll have to practice it. The making of the box isn't hard for me. Just the last part was a little confusing, but I'll follow.
Okay.
I'll, uh, I'll
Uh,
rewatch it and stuff. So
okay, no problem. And in the next class, we will take it ahead on your work. So whatever you will send me, we will work on that, and we will do the the measurement, definition, and all those things. Those are very obvious and very easy. But if you have any questions, let me know, uh, and then we will start working on these. If you can make something like this, that would be really nice. You can just make these shapes and motifs, and we can convert that into patterns in the next class.
if I can make, what do you want me to make?
These small motifs, or the characters like you said, if it is okay with you.
Or different ones?
Yeah, or different ones, that's fine. Or whichever packaging you will decide, just make components of those, the graph components of those, and we will create a pattern from that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I might work more with the candy bar packaging. It has two. It has an outer box
Uh-huh.
and the wrapper.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna pass on this file to you. Let me save this.
Thank you.
And Lisa, another thing is that Friday I'll be traveling actually. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm
It's
going.
okay. It's okay that I have extra time to work on this.
Ah, okay, then I'll see you next week.
Okay. See you next Wednesday.
Yeah,
Safe travels.
yeah, thank you. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.